Streaming is live.
We're live?
We're live. You got the link
Live?
to You got the link to the stream.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That should be something we've worked out beforehand. But hey, we've
Hey,
you know
hey everyone.
we've taken a couple weeks off. All right, hello
Yep.
everybody, and
A
welcome
little
to
rusty.
episode 26 of Conjured Refreshments. This week you got Michaelos, you got Mystic. Table's off doing something with somebody for something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's not here.
Damn you, table.
He won't be here for the next one either. He's gonna be up in some
What?
place up north visiting a friend.
I revoke his nerd card.
And with that, if I remember these scenes correctly, let's try this. Hey, I remember where the opening video was at on the scenes. I'm so proud of myself. So, Mike, how have you been?
I've been okay. A little busy, but okay.
Anything new happening with you, with your channel, with your personal life? You're having a
Well,
baby.
let me tell you. The last few nights I've been up till 7 a.m. recording brand new videos for the channel with
Ooh.
my new recording software. Well, I don't know if you can call it new because it's still OBS. It's just a different version of OBS where they recoded it from the ground up to make it better. But um, I've got a bunch of videos coming out within the next few weeks. I should be up to 2 videos a day now with all that I've recorded. So yay!
Woot.
More videos for me. So I've got, I think, Stardew Valley's coming. That's going to be full on series. That may actually be a somewhat playthrough.
You know,
I got.
I'm gonna stop you right there for a minute. Uh, that's not a co-op game. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was making sure because you gave it to me. You gifted it to me, which I appreciate. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I do appreciate it.
Steam told me to.
Because I wanted to check it out. But you sent me that and some other game that I couldn't get to work on my screen, but I'll worry about that later. I was like, oh, okay. And you're like, co-op stuff. I'm like, okay. And I looked it up. I'm like, that's not co-op. But continue.
Oh, well, the other game is the co-op one, yeah. But
yeah.
The Stardew Valley is just Steam told me to do it, so.
All right, I gotta find a way for Steam to tell you to give me $1 million.
Nah, but
But I do appreciate it.
yeah,
So
got Stardew. I got X-Blades coming. I rebooted that one. I decided to be like Hollywood and reboot one of my series.
Cool.
I told the origin story over and everything all over again. But I think that one came out a lot better than the original playthrough anyway, so it worked out. And then I have, I'm thinking, I'm not sure. I'm going to release a video of Carnivores, and I'm not sure if I want to continue to play that or not. So I'm going to see how it does, and if it does well, or if I like it a lot or something, then I might continue to play that one as a regular thing. But I'm not sure. And I was going to do some Hearthstone, but then I had another idea where every week I might record the Tavern Brawl for that week and just play like 2 or 3 games. Or the other thing I was thinking, I might stream it on Friday. But I'm not sure yet. So one of those will be happening. So a lot of stuff going on that I've finished this weekend. And hopefully can continue to keep that up every weekend except for next weekend, which I have mandatory overtime. So boo.
Are we announcing the project coming out Tuesday? Or is it going to be a surprise for everybody? It doesn't matter to me. It can be a surprise. I don't care.
We can hype it up.
Okay, go for it.
Everyone who loves Dragon Ball, guess what we got? whole episode of Dragon Ball. No, I'm just me and Mystic finally, after much time trying to get it to work, well, not work, but we he gave me the game is what happened,
A year
and
ago
then
almost.
yeah, and then I procrastinated on getting to the point where we could play together, and I finally did it, and then we waited for a long time, and then this weekend I'm finally like, you know what, let's fucking do this shit. Um, so I, I called up Mystic, well, Skyped up Mystic, but um, like, let's
Soon to be
do this.
Discord
And
up
he's like,
Mystic.
yeah. He's like, yeah, let's do this. And then we got all hyped up and we went in and spent about 2 hours trying to get the damn thing to party us up. And then we finally did it. So that exciting, um, special thing that is years in the making should be up Tuesday.
The best part was I'm sitting here googling stuff on my phone, and then I realized I can just shift tab and bring up the browser in Steam's overlay to do it. Because if I click outside the game, I actually crash the game. But it wasn't until I asked him, "Do you have a little do with the red circle X around him?" Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. So it took a
Okay,
lot for us to make it. So you guys watch it. Is that enough hyping it up?
it took us an hour and 7 minutes to figure that out. Because I still have the built raw cap files for that from DxTory. I haven't deleted those yet.
I
I
think I
just,
still have them too,
but yeah,
just in case I need proof.
but that that is a very fun game. I enjoyed it. Uh,
Yeah. We'll most likely finish it up.
no,
Or
there's no
by
most
finish it
likely.
up, I mean,
We will finish all the PQs.
ah, your mic squeaked or something when you said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was just my rage coming out saying we will finish the PQs.
Who knew rage can travel through the internet via microphone?
Well, it can, but those PQs will be finished, and we have hopefully sometime this year. Hopefully, Neoverse 2 coming out.
Ooh. Hopefully, it's better optimized, both netcode and regular usage of the GPU.
Yeah, that is a downside to Bandai Namco. Their porting of stuff isn't always the best. Uh, I had to do quite a few modifications for Tales of Zestiria to get it to run at 60 FPS to record it at 30. Because if I ran it at 30 and tried to record at 30, it went down to like 15 frames. But if I play it at 60 and record
Nope.
at 30, everything's fine. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
I think I was having that problem last night because, uh, as people have watched channel and as you know, I've never had a problem recording Terraria. Right?
Right?
I recorded it last night with my wife, and I had nothing but problems. One of which was as I was recording, my frames would randomly drop below 30. And in the game, my character would be like he's walking on the moon while it's slower than 30.
That is
So I don't know what was going on there.
that is a problem that people will see with at least my videos for Dragon Ball Neoverse. Which is cool about this co-op thing is you got two different people fighting and two different styles of fighting. And
Yeah.
I have almost all the abilities. Obviously there's some I don't got, but I saved a lot of the big hard hitting ones for later on in the game. And there are a couple times where I busted out the ultimate spams just so we can reach the ultimate finish limit. So that way we can try to get Mike some new abilities. Or whenever Mike's
And
dead
tried
in
out the Tried out the Kaioken times 20.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I really,
Never doing that again.
which I really don't need because I already have Super Saiyan, and Super Saiyan trumps Kaioken. Hell, I got Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, so it was pointless for me to do. I just did it for the hell of it. I just don't have the stamina for it.
That's what he said.
uh, but I did give my character some okay moves to play with because I remember the starting moves weren't the best in the world. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really
that
don't.
my
I try.
first,
Good.
my original ultimate was like miss, 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 miss.
Well, the Destructo Disparage seems to home in on him. It
Ooh.
doesn't do a lot of damage. Well, at least with the stat distribution I have going on right now and the gear I'm wearing, doesn't do a lot right now, but it can do a lot. And it makes him flinch. That's why I took it. Like I said, whenever I'm about dead and Mike's already dead, I just go, I'm not losing. Spam. But anything else coming for you?
Um, Nothing I can think of
Okay.
that. Well, nothing I can remember. So hopefully I've said everything. Because I just now mentioned the Terraria thing, so got new ones of those coming out.
Ooh.
After uploading the old ones, I finally finished uploading all the old ones that are from like a year ago.
Well, I have Tales of Hysteria stuff coming out. I have Hyperdimension stuff coming out. I got 20XX with you coming out. I got Dragon Ball Neoverse with you coming out. And Ursula wants to actually play Minecraft. So I might have additional Minecraft series coming out separate from ours.
Ooh. You're gonna be the Minecraft wizard.
Oh no, there's people out there who are much better at Minecraft than I am. I'm just playing it for fun. The problem is, he's just like me. He likes machines and automating stuff. So that'll be
So you're just
interesting.
gonna see if you build a better machine.
Well, we know I will. But
Build it bigger, build it faster, build it stronger.
some notes for you. If for the game you play you don't think you're gonna like it, it's just better to drop it than to try to force it to come out. That's what I did with Our Kingdom. It was getting decent views, for my standards at least. But I was actually sitting there watching the timer for each episode, and that's when I realized this wasn't gonna work for me because I can only feign excitement so much. And
I
then
don't really have that problem if I'm not into a game, I just that's the benefit of having ADD though.
then you got something like my Portal 1 or Portal 2 playthrough. Portal 2, I think it was. Yeah, a Portal 2 3 playthrough where I just dropped it. It wasn't getting views, and I was starting to not have fun with it. And I still have about 10 videos I didn't upload for it, too. They're actually in a folder on one of my drives called Not Uploaded.
It does get a little disheartening when you look at a video and it says no views for like 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Like, oh,
It does. But then you look at some of your videos and go, how the hell did you get that many views?
yeah, like my Blade and Soul video that I did on the gamepad, it's over 1,500 views right now, I think.
Nice.
I'm like, how'd that get so many views yet? Nothing.
Yeah. It's one of the hardest things is looking at the analytics and trying to figure out how to schedule yourself around it and release content around that will continue to generate views.
And a lot of the views seem to come from like the hot game of that week or that month or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Like Blade and Soul, released those videos right when Blade Souls beta ended, and it became open to everyone. And that's probably the timing was probably just perfect for that. If I released a Blade and Soul right now, I probably wouldn't get as many views. That's why I'm not. That's why I haven't really gotten to it yet.
Right.
But I might experiment with it and try it and see what happens. But just because everyone's searching Blade Soul, what is it? But it's like finding that game that is going to be hot that week or something, and then a lot of times it's one that's like $60 or something. Like I think right now it's the Division. It's like I can't afford that.
No. And my thing is, Division may be a popular game, but I know for a fact I won't have fun with it, so I won't even touch it.
Yeah, there's games like that for me too. I might, if I had the money, I might touch the Division just to see what it's all about. But I'm more into platformers and spectacle fighters and stuff like that. So
I'm not big into the fighters. The only reason I can do Dragon Ball Neoverse is because I love Dragon Ball Z. It wasn't my first anime I ever watched, but it was the first one I followed entirely through. I mean, honestly, you want to get down to it, my first anime I ever saw was Sailor Moon. And the first anime I watched on a consistent basis, as much as I could at 5 years old or whatever, was Running Warriors. But you're ready to jump into some topics? Now it wasted 16 minutes just talking about BS.
well, we better start talking about World of Warcraft stuff on a World of Warcraft stream. Otherwise, the fans might get angry.
True, true. Send all your pitchforks and hates over to Michael's channel.
I'll take the views. Angry views are still views, man.
All right, the first thing we have going on was a blue post on Mythic Dungeons. And before we get that, we're trying to change up the podcast a little bit, not reading everything from verbatim like we were, trying to paraphrase stuff and whatnot. So let us know if you like this way better. If not, we'll go back to the old way. It's fine. But question was asked about Mythic Dungeons, and pretty much came back with Mythic Dungeons still have loot-based weekly lockouts. However, with keystones, you are only limited to the number of available keystones you have access to. And that's not saying, all right, I have 5 keystones in my possession. It's how many friends do you have with keystones? It's a way to try to bring back the community for people. How do you feel about that?
Um, Not really sure how I feel about the whole Keystone thing just yet, but from what I've read about it, it looks interesting. I'm not sure if it will really bring back the community like they want it to, though, just because just I feel like we're in a place now where Blizzard has already made this new community, which and it's going to be real hard for us to go back to the old ways if they ever wanted us to do that, which I don't think they want us to completely go back to the old ways
Right.
of getting in chat and saying looking for this. But
No, you can
we're
still use
the
the looking
community's
for gold
kind of
thing.
yeah, it's the community seems to have gone more towards people are more into convenience and uh, like the more convenient stuff like looking for raid and stuff and queuing up for stuff. And I think mostly the keystone thing will just be a way to make gold for a lot of people. Like
I
I have this keystone for 20 gold, I'll run with you.
I see it for the making gold feature like you said. I also see it as a way to help progress your gear faster in the start.
It will be nice for a guild because then you could chip in with the guild that way too.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, I got this keystone. You want to go with? And then
Uh, next, they were talking about ability pruning. When you're saying a rotation,
ability.
huh?
Oh yes,
Ah,
ability pruning.
whenever people are saying they want more complex rotation, not this 2 button crap, It doesn't help them out much for feedback. But talking about
Yeah.
why X talent doesn't make you feel good even after taking X talent to make your rotation feel more complete or it actually makes you feel weaker is actual feedback that they can take and use. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to push these two buttons, but if I take talent X and I have to push that button now, it should be a DPS gain, but the way everything's working out, it's actually a DPS loss. And that's actually more helpful than I want more two button push. I bored. Fix, Blizz. And what they're
Yeah, and
doing,
it is a matter of perspective too, a little bit too. Like some people maybe like the 2 button thing, but
right? And what they're saying is some people like the 2-3 button rotation in Legion, and they're allowing us to customize our rotation a lot. However, if the 2 to 3 button rotation is what gives the class the maximum amount of DPS, it is something that needs brought up in feedback. So just like I said, if even taking that talent to give you that fourth button to push, and it's not giving you your maximum amount of DPS, it's something that needs to be brought up in feedback. Which I agree, and I agree pushing just 2 buttons for DPS would be really boring, especially
for
coming
me,
from
it's
us.
not so much. Uh, like for me, it's not so much pushing just the 2 buttons; it's how you push the 2 buttons that I'm more concerned with. Like, is it just spamming 2 buttons, or do you have to push the 2 buttons at a certain time? And if you do it at just the right time, you can get that little bit of DPS increase.
Right.
Like, is it just hitting 2 buttons, or is there a little complexity they might have thrown in there? Like, if you hit this button, if you hit the second button 0.5 seconds before your dot falls off, you get a DPS increase. But if you just hit it when you think the dot's about to fall off and you miss that 0.5 seconds, you lose some DPS, or if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. And you're clipping your dot. One could argue that might need to be adjusted as well. If I only have 2 buttons to push, and if you want me to sit here and just wait to push that button, that's not a fun game.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the buttons you just spam, like for instance, rogues, because that's the class I know the most. um, for instance, like for a rogue, it's like you spam the whole fight. You're pretty much just spamming your combo builder. Like let's say mutilate. We'll pretend we're assassination today,
Okay.
but it's like, well, currently in the game for rogues, you spam your combo builder, and that's what you do till you get enough combo points, and then you hit Envenom, but you don't want to hit Envenom too soon because you want to get the full duration and all that. And it gets mathy after that, so I'm not going to get into that. But something like that, I like, just because there's that little bit of complexity that a skilled player can eke out just a tiny bit more DPS than someone who's just picking up the class like today. And I kind of like those because if you're actually skilled at the class, you get that payoff.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're someone just learning, yeah, you're going to struggle a little bit and you're probably going to be low on the DPS charts, but you can still learn and get to that point.
Right.
Um, like even with the help of mods and stuff. But I don't mean like you hit one button and you sit and you wait and watch the screen. It just okay, like whack-a-mole. It's like
Yeah.
a slow game of whack-a-mole. It's like one mole comes up and then you have to wait like 5 minutes for the next one.
Yeah. If that's how the rotation ends
But
up being, that definitely needs to be sent back. But another thing that they brought up a good point was people who watch these popular streamers or YouTube people, and they say don't like this 2 button rotation or they don't like this, but they don't give any more information. The problem they're running into is a lot of the fans are flocking and just going with that, not essentially being their own person, taking the word
yeah,
of that person as gospel. And the problem Blizzard has with that is they can't ignore it and they shouldn't ignore it and they don't ignore it because it's still feedback. And in that cluster of horrible feedback, there could be good feedback in there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to just ignore all that, but you may actually miss that very good feedback in there. And
I mean, some of that. Um, some of that also kind of falls on like the streamer or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a big name streamer, maybe you could try to be a little more responsible with what you like. Actually, be more concise with what you're saying when you're saying, "Oh, I don't like this 2-button rotation." Maybe you could start explaining why or something.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed because that might help. Because then, even if you get the trickle effect of uh, your fans going to Blizzard and all that, then if they're quoting you or something, then they get a more. You've got more people giving more reason why.
Mm-hmm. But you're always gonna have people misquoting you too. So,
Yeah, that can't be helped.
but that would cut down. And I'm not saying these people aren't doing
Or
that.
taking it out of context.
I'm not saying these streamers and YouTubers aren't doing it. The people I've watched or saw videos on from my recommended list, most of them, when they do talk about the ability pruning, they do say it sucks, but then they give reasons why it sucks and what they can be done to adjust it.
Yeah.
Now, I like that. That's giving the entire plate. But if you got a narrow-minded individual, they're going to just take the, oh, so and so said it sucks, so it just sucks. They didn't listen to the rest of it. And
Yep.
even some of the people saying about complaining about the ability pruning did agree that X ability should have been removed. It makes no sense to be in the game anymore. Which there are some of those abilities.
Yeah, there's some that they prune that people didn't want pruned, and so people say it like, "Oh, this it feels bad with this pruned. Can you put back in?" They did it like cheap shot.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, why would you take cheap shot from rogues, you assholes? Just kidding.
And honestly, it's no secret if you go back and watch any of the Conjured Refreshments, any of my Mind series, I can be very hard on Blizzard on a lot of topics. And at the same time, I'm only hard because I enjoy what they put out. I want to see them continue to succeed. But they do listen to an extent.
Yeah, unlike other companies.
Yeah. Although I still want them to take the damn statues out of the talent system for both the tanking and healing monks, put it back in our tool set. I want that. That's been a thing for your class since it's been introduced, and you're just going, oh, you have to take us a talent to piss off. Anyway,
All right, whoever's watching this, go to Blizzard forums and quote. But I know one thing Blizzard hates a lot when you're trying to give that kind of feedback too is I've always seen a blue like say we hate the words like everyone or all the other players and stuff like that when you try and speak for everyone when you're trying to give feedback that you personally think is that you personally think this has happened, but somehow everyone has the same mindset as you.
right.
So those are words that Blizzard would like it if people would avoid and stuff, which makes sense because like for the 2-button thing, some people like really simple games and stuff and they really love the 2-button thing, and then you have these other people that maybe want a more skill-based game and they want like 50 buttons, and then you got those people in the middle. So it's not like all unanimous we want this. Not like the whole flying debate.
Right.
No, that was
it
like
was
50-50.
yeah. Well, uh,
Well,
the
according to Blizzard, that was 50-50 in their lunchroom,
yeah, no, their lunchroom
which represents the entire player.
apparently. But like perfect example was my mind share on the guild UI improvements. I don't know if you watched that one or not.
Yeah, I believe I.
Uh, I know for a fact I took when I made that I took ideas from I think us talking, Table and myself talking, Urs and myself talking, and some other people from the guild talking. And I even said there from talking to people from in my guild, this is some thoughts we have. And again, I didn't go. Everyone thinks this way. I just went
Yeah,
talking amongst the people I know and who play. Here's ideas we came up with. That's one thing to do because now you're narrowing it down to people you actually know.
yeah,
And if they actually ask you this question and If you can actually bring these people with you to talk to them about that, it makes your ideas look that much better.
Yep.
Whereas if they actually talk to you about this and they want you to bring everybody, you're going to lose.
Especially if you're doing the nerf this, nerf that argument, it helps to bring someone who's good at math
Hmm.
and likes to tinker around with Blizzard's theory crafting.
Yeah.
Because then they could come to your forum post and be like, okay, this is the math behind this. It's carry the 2 multiplied by 6. And some Blizzard developers like, oh my god, they did the math.
You know what? The funny thing, honest to God, the funny thing is, if you're actually in an argument with something and there's actually math involved, if you actually bring the math to the table and show them the math, 9 chances out of 10, it will go your way.
Yep,
At least
math never lies.
in a working environment, as long as you're not smug about it.
Yeah,
You put math in front of them and you show them why it's not going to work with the math. 9 chances out of 10, it's going to go your way.
especially if it's like talk about nerfing stuff because that makes sense math wise. It's like, okay, this ability is obviously doing too much damage because according to the math, it's doing too much damage. And if you have the math to back it up, then Blizzard can just it it streamlines the process because then Blizzard has the math in front of them. They're like, oh yeah, that's exactly right. We can tweak that for you or something.
Well, there's been
Obviously, though, they're going to think about that in a broader scale, like the whole game and
you're
all the
right,
other math. But
but but I can already hear people saying that it's not the player's job to do the math for Blizzard, and you're right, it's not. But if you feel that ability needs nerfed and it's hindering your gameplay and your fun, then if you bring this, it's just that much faster for that to get fixed if it is actually broken.
yeah, it's faster for you to find it than Blizzard to find it themselves. 'Cause especially since Blizzard's they're busy. Yeah, they play their own game, but they're really busy and they don't have a lot of time to just do the kind of math that I've seen a lot of other players do where they get really into it on
Uh-huh.
like theory crafting forums and stuff. I'm reading a theory crafting forum on how to play the new rogues and stuff, and then I just see this post about math, and my first instinct is scroll down.
Oh
Mathy
yeah,
stuff, mathy stuff, mathy stuff.
I liked. I had a back whenever I was in the prop paladin. Someone actually made a Excel spreadsheet, and you just punch numbers in from your gear. You picked what race you were. You already had the base stats for your race and everything, and
Yeah,
it did all the math for you. I love that. I had one for my brewmaster too back in Mop. I love that.
I
It
get
actually
that for my rogue every expansion.
it it,
Um, from the from Ravenhold, I think is where I get it.
it actually helped me figure out. People are saying go with this stat, but me going, but if I take this, and this, I have a net gain on survivability.
Yeah,
That's why I like punching that stuff in. Sitting down to actually try to
that
figure all the numbers out, I'm not the best at.
and that's another thing that I've seen a lot of players do as far as feedback is I've seen a lot of players because something doesn't work for them specifically, they feel that it needs nerfed or buffed when maybe a top player, someone that knows more what they're doing, does just fine with it. And it's actually like I've seen cases where the player's like, this needs buffed, but then like the top player, you see them like, no, it needs nerfed from their perspective. And you get like conflicting information there too sometimes. And
Yeah,
because some things like I know there's some areas when you play a rogue where you can get that little bit more DPS, and if you're not doing those little things, you can think that your DPS is low compared to other classes because maybe this druid over here is doing their rotation absolutely positively perfectly and without any flaws, so they're getting like this amazing DPS, and you're this person who you make mistakes and flaws every now and then, and you're getting a low DPS, and you can kind of get that feeling like druids need nerfed, which they do because druids always need nerfed. That's the general rule. Always nerf druids. But just kidding.
nerf druids,
Down with
buff
druids.
monks.
Well, nerf resto druids so that they always die in arena.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's coming from PvP, but that's the other thing. I do see that on forums too. The knee jerk nerf this post just because someone got ganked by some class for an hour, and then they go to the forums like, "This class needs nerfed."
Hmm.
In some cases, maybe, but then there's other cases where you kind of get the feel that learn to play noob.
Right. I
But
I
yeah,
had
it's the more intelligent of a conversation you can have, the faster, more efficiently things get done, and the less Blizzard comes back with these posts about, can you be more clear? Can you be more concise? Can you give us more than just, I don't want to hit two buttons? Because that makes the conversation longer if you go through that, because you're like, I don't like hitting two buttons. Blizzard then has to ask, why don't you like hitting two buttons? Then you go back and forth, and then it becomes this longer conversation, which could have just been shortened by, I don't like two buttons because blah, 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 blah. And then Blizzard might come back with a question or two, and then it ends quicker and things get done quicker if you're more detailed from the get go of
right.
why.
I mean,
Whereas
I never.
otherwise, you just have all this noise and Blizzard's scrambling around trying to sort out which noise is legit.
I've had personal experience with my monk. People go, you need nerfed, and then it wasn't until we got to like this next boss battle where we saw, and I even said, I'm not gonna be as strong in this next boss battle, and they saw like, oh, you're weaker here. Yeah, I'm not good enough for. I'm not the best class for this particular boss battle. People aren't just looking at people are just looking at that one case scenario. They're looking at, okay, well, how are they
Yeah,
with this, or this?
it's. Have you ever been in a raid where you have two people whispering you, and one's telling you how your class needs nerfed, and the other one's telling you how it needs buffed at the same time?
No, I was in a raid where it was a pug where I was being told I was playing my brewmaster wrong
Oh,
because with all the raiding experience you have, you should be rolling your 4 piece. No, my 4 piece sucks. I have more survivability with what I have. And if I get down to the point where my 2 and 4 piece can actually activate, it's too late. We just know how to play your
oh.
class. Uh, I just single tanked that boss as our tank died, and none of you knew how to battle res. I
Learn to
should
play
have been
noob.
able to do that.
Yeah, I've been in a raid where I was on my rogue, and I think it was a pug too, and I had one rogue whispering me, telling me, "Oh, we need buffed so bad. This is sucks and all that." And then on the other hand, another rogue was whispering me, saying, "God, we need to get nerfed. I am so doing so much DPS right now." It was pretty hilarious for me.
Yeah.
It's like you get both sides of the conversation all in one raid. But both sides did make some good points, but it's just funny that
Well, it's good they're making points, not just we need buffed or we need nerfed. Actually
yeah,
saying why.
but is just the weirdest conversation I had. Trying to keep both conversations separate too, because one conversation I'm almost saying, "Yeah, we totally need buff," to the guy who says we need nerfed.
All right, moving on. Just so everybody knows, at the end of Warlords, you won't be able to get your ring. Just like you can't get the legendary cloak anymore, won't be able to get the legendary ring anymore. Which I
Oh,
I like.
yeah, keeps it exclusive, part of an
Uh,
exclusive club.
for you shamans, whatever skin you pick for your main hand for your artifact will be the same as your offhand for any appearance. So can't have two different looking doom hammers.
And I'll tell you why. Because Blizzard hates asymmetry. Is that the word? Two things are different. Blizzard likes their symmetry. They're like that kid from the anime
Uh,
uh, Soul
Soul
Eater.
Eater.
They're Death the Kid. That is Blizzard.
There you
And
go.
they want their damn symmetry. So quit making your offhand look different than your main hand. This is the fix to that.
I would actually agree. I would agree with you if there wasn't shoulder pads out there where you only cover one shoulder.
Well, yeah, there's that. Blizzard's going to fix that in the next patch where you can only transmog shoulders that are symmetrically designed. It'd be hilarious if that actually was a patch they came out with where your armor can't be transmogged unless it's symmetric.
Symmetry, damn it.
They suddenly redesign every city in the game to be perfectly symmetrical. They redesign everything in the game. The world of symmetry craft. It's like, no, Night Elf, you can't stand next to that Blood Elf. He's shorter than you. Stand next to another damn Night Elf. That's the new raid. The new raid they come out with is the raid boss will do extra damage to the group unless everyone stands symmetrically next to someone who's exactly like in the same transmog and everything. It's like if there's a night elf in tier 6 on this side of the room, there has to be one on the other side of the room. Otherwise, it wipes the whole raid. And it goes the same for everyone else in the raid. If you got a panda monk, you have to have another panda monk. If you and all of them have to do the same rotation.
Nice. All right. Moving on, more blue posts. Unholy Death Knights, Blizzard is spicing up some of your talents. So
With Rosemary.
Rosemary. So look forward to that whenever they talk about that. Frost mages, they're getting the talent Splitting Ice and replacing Bitter Cold. Splitting Ice lets them do damage to 2 targets at a time, and they feel it's a good representation of a Frost mage. And Windwalker
So
monks.
Frost is going to start being cleave or.
I think they were already cleave when there was multiple targets. I think that when they made their change,
I always thought they were more single target DPS.
Well,
I always figured Fire was the AoE guy.
Well, you especially with Frost, if there's more one person up, you do your Ice Lance, you have those icy things hanging above your head, it will start hitting any random target that's there. But Windwalker monks, your SEF is getting changed. Your Fist of Fury does damage to a secondary target, does its full damage to it. SEF has a 9-second cooldown and a 15-second duration. All 3 of your spirits do 33% of your normal damage. However, while it's active and you do Spinning Crane Kick, the damage is increased by 100%. And Spinning Crane Kick costs 4 chi, and its base damage is increased by 150%. And additionally, it now does 50% additional damage for each unique target you use your SEF on. And they're also adding the target count number to your Spinning Crane Kick button. So nice little adjustments for Windwalker monks. I'm not a big fan of the duration time on it, though. I like the fights where I'm able to keep my clone out there the entire time, especially on like a 2 boss fight. Being able to keep that clone out there and beating it up. Sorry, I'm also watching the hockey game right now, and opposing player decided to knee our goalie in the head. I was like, oh, it was
this
an
episode
accident.
of Conjured Refreshments brought to you by hockey. Kneeing goalies in the head since 1920s or whatever, whenever hockey started.
Do you have anything you want to throw in here from these posts?
Nothing in particular. I don't really know much about any of I know a little bit about frost mages, but I said what I wanted to say for that one, which proves I don't know anything about frost mages.
Well,
I don't really have a Windwalker monk or anything, so.
they are releasing the tickets to buy for BlizzCon, and it will be held Friday, November 4th and Saturday, November 5th at its Anaheim Convention
And they're
Center.
gone.
They'll be doing two batches, one on Wednesday 20th at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then another one
And they're gone.
Saturday, April 23rd at 10 a.m. Pacific time.
And those are gone. That's what they need to do for the website for that they sell tickets. That if you come when the tickets like if you come that 2 seconds too late, which is usually 2 seconds after it's released, it shows that South Park episode with the banker guy that's just like, "Oh, would you like to put your money in the bank?" And it's gone. Except it's just like, "Oh, would you like to purchase Blizzard tickets? We got some right." Oh, and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's pretty much how it goes every year. The second it opens, it's like, and they're gone.
Uh-huh.
You pretty much have to be sitting at your computer constantly hitting the refresh button that day just to get one. Seems like one of these decades, because that's how long it's going to take. I'd like to go to BlizzCon.
Yeah, so would I.
I would like to be that guy hitting the refresh button on his computer until the tickets thing comes up.
There's a random bug that randomly makes you get unstealth, and Blizzard knows. Uh, report they're getting bugs like this daily. Report exactly where it's happening so they can try to reproduce it. It's a invisible spell being cast in the area, which is causing rogues to break out of stealth. So that's interesting.
They'll just be breaking out of stealth, man. Oh, and they're bringing Tricks of Trade back. Yay!
Good.
So I can dump off all my aggro to you.
Well, it's good because I
Well,
have a
actually, I
tank.
could dump off all my aggro to Urs again.
Oh, there you go. That's a better idea.
Urs, I'm coming for you. Well, my aggro is coming for you. I'm coming for the boss, but the hate that results from me coming for the boss is coming to you.
The
Part of
new
me kind of wonders how that's supposed to work, like the misdirect and tricks of trade. Do I dress the other person up as to look like me so that when I stab the boss, he looks over to the other?
stab that guy.
It's like it's like I'm behind the boss. I just stab him. He's like, "Who just stabbed me?" And just point at Urs. Urs like, "No, no, no, no. It wasn't me. No, 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 no." And the boss just takes my word for it because he trusts me.
The new half/full moon are not affected by Alkin frenzy. It's a bug, and they're working on it.
So many bugs. Well, I guess alpha is alpha,
Right.
which should be beta. Should be beta. Just saying.
You're just saying, huh?
They've been alpha for way too long. It's time for beta. Open beta.
Yeah, my theory of having the expansion out before or just after the movie is slowly dwindling the longer we have
Yeah.
alpha and no beta.
It's definitely looking more and more like it's going to be that November release.
Yep.
Or what was it they said on their site? November or September?
September, I think.
looking more and more like that one's actually going to be a thing. Of course, they keep going the way they're going. It kind of feels like they're going to be like, December 25th, Merry Christmas, buy this for your kids.
It's not on
Happy New
here.
Year, we got Legion.
It's not on here on the dock, but there were some UI enhancements that Blizzard made, and one of them is putting like a circle around your character and an outline around your character, so you don't lose your character in a group of people, which I think is cool.
Yeah,
It will help with people. I didn't know I was standing in something because I couldn't see myself. Well, put that on. Now you will.
there are times. Yeah, there are times I remember kind of getting lost in a boss fight just from all the bright effect. I think it was a fire type boss. So there's like tons of fire effects flying everywhere. And then because I'm melee, I'm standing in a huge mass of people anyway. I think it was a big raid too. But it's like, where am I standing? Why am I not getting combo points? Oh, I'm like 2 inches away from the boss. I've had those kind of times.
But yeah, nice little enhancements like that. Being able to put your combo points either on the enemy, on a new little bar that shows up on your screen, on your portrait. You can put those combo points wherever you want to put them.
Another mod I could get rid of.
Yeah, and Blizzard's good for that. They're good at
So
seeing what's
yeah,
popular and
it's always nice when they
adding
get
it.
rid of some mods.
Yeah,
Nothing against the mod developers, but I like to see my mod list shrink as it's integrated into the game, just because I hate keeping up with all those mods all the time, trying to update them. I mean, I have the curse thing where it just tells me when they need updated, but still, sometimes I forget to log into that, and then I log into the game. It's like, your mods are out of date. What? I just updated them yesterday. Oh, do it again.
all right. So a couple days ago, Blizzard took down a vanilla private server. Did you hear anything about that one?
Not really. I haven't had my ear to the ground on WoW news as much recently. But
Well,
I
geez,
try to.
I think you're pretty
Well,
much.
the WoW news that isn't on MMO Champion, that is.
I think you're kind of useless. But
Oh, I'm kind of busy.
it was a vanilla private server, and it was one of the very rare almost bug-free private servers out there. And private servers are a thing. Everybody knows that. And if you play on a private server, good for you. I play one on myself too. I know, but it can be there one day and gone the next because private servers are illegal. You're stealing someone's IP, and you're not allowed to do that.
You're
But
not able to play for free.
not so much playing for free.
It's,
It's the you took someone's product and you're doing what you want with it. You didn't pay any
yeah.
licensing to do
Plus,
it.
you're not paying the subscription to do it.
Right.
Like,
Uh,
they're not getting their $15 a month.
this has a lot of people up in arms because, well, hold on. What their downfall was, from me reading all these forum posts and everything, was they were boasting about their numbers. And I've seen 500,000, I've seen 800,000 numbers being thrown around. That's a nice chunk.
That's where all WoW subscribers went.
But the one thing I saw for people defending it and wanting it back and wanting to play on it was no one was saying what, in honesty, I think is the actual big thing is it's free. There was a couple who said, yeah, if Blizzard made their own vanilla server, I'd pay them. There was a couple doing that. And you know what? For the vast majority of the people who were saying that, I believe them. A lot of them I don't. Whenever I play on a private server, it was because I didn't have money and I wanted to play World of Warcraft. So I played it on a private server. It was free. The next argument was no one's making any money from it. This is false. The hosting provider for the game was making money. The people who were running the game had to pay a server to keep it up, and that server required money. So therefore, someone was making a profit off of it, and they were accepting donations. But they weren't making a profit; they were accepting donations. Do I think 100% of the donations went to the servers? I don't think so. I don't have anything to back that up, but just looking at other private servers, what they've done in the past, someone took money away from it.
Yeah, probably.
And then you had not people, a person, an individual trying to argue fair use.
It's not fair use. Well, it's not the right argument for the situation.
No. And I
Unless
said,
you're using it for educational purposes, like you said earlier.
yeah, and you would still lose.
Yeah.
If you tried to argue educational, if you're trying to teach people how to program, you might get a less harsh of a sentence if you end up in court, but you're still going to lose.
And of course, Blizzard's going to take it down because, I mean, that's money they're losing too, technically, because everyone that's playing on that server is not paying them $15 a month to play on normal World of Warcraft. But, I mean, an argument could be made, would those players even pay the $15 a month anyway because they would rather play vanilla WoW? And since WoW isn't vanilla WoW, would they just never have given Blizzard money anyway? But
Yeah, that is an argument.
it's one of those complicated it's one of those complicated arguments. Like, is Blizzard really losing money or not? Are these actually potential players that just couldn't afford it and wouldn't have given them money anyway? And there's that whole thing. But as Blizzard would see it, like if you're a company, you see it as losing money. You'd see that side of the argument. But
Oh yeah,
the argument could be made like those are also customers that would never have done it anyway. So
I am
it's one of
wholeheartedly
those
on Blizzard's
complicated
side of this.
arguments that, yeah, because good business sense is everyone's a customer. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like we just lost, how many was it? Like 8,000, 80,000 customers or whatever it was.
There was numbers of
They said they were playing.
500,000 and 800,000.
Oh, 500. It's like Blizzard, in their eyes, they're seeing it like this: we just lost 500,000 potential subscribers because this server is active. And if you're a company losing money like that, especially since it's your work that you're losing money to, obviously you're not going to appreciate that, especially if someone else possibly is profiting off it as well
Right.
with the whole donation thing.
Here's the words from the petition.org thing. For us 1 year, it was an amazing journey for all of us, and for the 800,000 players who registered an account, including the 150,000 players who were active. This one gives the 800,000, and it also gives a 150,000 active players. And people with the petition.org thing, it has 55,000 supporters right now.
It's I could see one way that maybe this can work out in a little bit, but I'm not saying it would be right because I do have some problems with it. But I could see people want a vanilla server is what I'm getting at, and I could see maybe a way they could work it out so people can get their vanilla servers, and Blizzard doesn't have to worry about people profiting off it. Well, not them losing profit and all that. Is I could see them potentially contracting out private users to run their own vanilla servers because obviously there's people capable of this,
Mm-hmm.
and just setting their own terms and stuff. Like we get so much of the money from this back to us, and maybe you get a little bit or whatever, however they want to work it out, so that both sides are happy, both sides are either making a profit or one side's making a profit, the other side's just getting satisfaction, whatever they want from that. And people would still get the vanilla servers, and they just have to go to another third party source that's licensed by Blizzard. Plus, that makes it safer because this is licensed by Blizzard company or whatever, or contracted by Blizzard or whatever it is, whatever they want to call it. And through that, you know you're not getting like a virus or something because Blizzard put their stamp of approval on it, whatever. And but then they'd also have to separate themselves from Blizzard as far as like, don't go to Blizzard forums saying your vanilla server needs this done or whatever. You go to the other forums, whatever. But the problem I have with that though is the problem I have with the whole vanilla server argument is just it would fracture the player base if we just started having vanilla servers, brings one for each expansion. That starts to fracture the player base, which I've seen in games like Magic the Gathering, where you have a whole bunch of player base here, a whole bunch of player base here. So you're now on a server that's a ghost town because people don't like this particular expansion.
Right.
So you have no one to play with. And so you're stuck going back to the other servers, even if you like that particular expansion. Like, I'm sure there's people that, I don't know why, like Warlords of Draenor, but they would be in a ghost town if they were on that server.
Right.
So there is that problem because you are suddenly dividing a massive player base. Plus, there's the whole problem of your friends want to play on the Burning Crusade server, but you love Wrath of the Lich King, and you want to play on that server, so that can cause that kind of drama and stuff. So it does create some complexities, but I would say if Blizzard and the people running this private server did want to work something out, that would probably be the most reasonable thing. Is that way everyone is happy, and then people get their. And Blizzard doesn't have to run the server at that point. They just put it all on the guy that's over here doing it for them. But
If you look at it from this perspective, for a business aspect, in the short term, it's a huge bang it will give you a huge boost in profit because you can make your vanilla server its own subscription fee, TBC its
yep,
own subscription fee, Wrath its own subscription fee, Kata its own subscription fee, Mop its own, and Warlords its own, and Legion its own.
yeah.
You,
And in that way, you could have people that maybe can't afford a full subscription. Maybe they could go vanilla and have a partial subscription or something.
and then you can also add in, okay, you're you wanna you're tired of vanilla now. You want to take your character over? All right, $25 to move your character from the vanilla server over to whatever server now. Money wise, short term you can make a nice chunk of change. Long term, it's gonna kill the game
Yeah,
for what you said, the fracturing of the player base.
yeah.
And
It's every game I've ever played uh, that's ever done something like this. That's always what I see. Is it just completely fractures the player base, causes drama and all sorts of stuff. It's just doesn't work. I mean, we're already having problems, for example, with servers right now. Like I've seen posts constantly where people are complaining about the server transfer fee because, oh, my friend now plays on this server, but I want to play with him, but I can't afford the however much it is nowadays to transfer to the new server. And so you get these friends that they get all mad at each other and yell at each other in forums like whatever because I can't be with you anymore or whatever. But you take that times the however many expansions there are, there'll be more servers on there, and trying to get with all your friends because maybe your friend wants to go here, his friend wants to go here, your friendships break up, and then you blame Blizzard, and Blizzard's like, "Told you so."
what I would honestly like to see Blizzard do is like other games have done with what they call quote unquote mega servers, where you still log into
Oh
a
yeah,
Cenarian Circle, Killajade, whatever. But when you're out in the world, you're in one essential server, and you have different channels to pick from. like the cross realming. So you can be playing on Kill Jaden, I can be playing on Cenarian Circle. We're the same faction. I can be in your guild, you can be in my guild. We can see each other whenever we're in a party, and if we join the same channel, we can see each other out in the world. That would alleviate some of the problems, but that brings a whole other nightmare on server uh, side of things.
Well, in a way, they kind of seems like they're moving in that direction with the cross server guilds and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
the moves they've been making towards connecting multiple servers together.
Yeah.
Seems to be kind of a direction they're going, but I don't know if they're going to full on go that direction. Like what their ultimate plan is.
Right. But back to this thing, I really think people are missing the point that people are enjoying these private servers for the most part because they're free. I'm not saying there aren't people out there who prefer the vanilla over the current expansion. Hell, I prefer Wrath over the current expansion. But does that mean I want to go to a Wrath private server? No, because I know what will happen. I'll have fun for a while, and then for the last 6 months, like there was in Wrath, I'll be bored out of my mind, and that's what happened. It's fun for the nostalgia to go back and look at it,
Yeah.
but the game needs to continue to evolve.
You think it bad? You think it's bad now with taking a year for an expansion? go on a go on a vanilla server. It'll take forever, like eternity, for new content because there won't be any.
Yeah, there will be new content, and honestly, there won't be any patches or anything.
Yep. So
So
who's going to patch it?
there's no reason to.
Yep.
I wholeheartedly agree with Blizzard on this decision.
Yeah.
I, again, this is coming from a guy who played on a private server for over a year. And you know what? In all honesty, that's where I learned to tank. It wasn't the best tanking because I couldn't tank as Prot. I had to tank as Ret because Prot was broken on that server. Seriously, no matter how much hit you had, your shield would just go wherever it wanted to go. It wouldn't hit anything. Uh, but yeah, that's where I learned about the taunting and taunt rotations and all that fun stuff. That's where I learned how to lead raids. Could I have learned all that stuff on live? Definitely. But I didn't have the money at the time. At the time, I also didn't have this token thing where you can just buy it from the cash shop for gold.
I got an idea.
Huh.
Blizzard Nostalgia Museum. You go in and you can play vanilla to your heart's content, but you have to go home at some point.
You have to go home at some point.
And you have a tour guide in your ear the whole time you're playing the vanilla, like, oh yes, this was the great Noxramas that barely anyone saw the end of. How about you try?
Evil
This
laughing in
shit
the
is
background.
hard. Like this shit is hard. Exactly. Dun, dun, dun. I have a whole new appreciation for looking for a raid now. Okay, maybe not, but I get it.
Whoa, simmer down there, boy.
People walk out there like zombies, like, I get it now. Blizzard is God. It's actually a hypnotism museum.
Nice.
Churning out new customers daily. Ding.
I have high hopes for Legion. I really do. Everything I'm
I have reserved high hopes.
everything I'm seeing They're it looks like they're trying to push it in the right direction. I I hope it does wonderful. I really do. I hope we don't have a flying fiasco like we did this expansion. Uh,
We'll have the ground mount fiasco. Blizzard's like, we're taking away ground mounts. You're just going to exclusively fly. Like, no.
I don't care. I'll do that. See,
Well, yeah, but you'd have people
for me,
yelling
I,
everywhere.
I like flying because I can look at stuff from a different point of view, and there's so much work done on top of those mountains and whatnot that you wouldn't see otherwise.
Yep.
First time I got flying for Warlords, there's a mountain right side of the Alliance garrison. Up high on it, there's a campfire just sitting there, and I couldn't figure out any other way out to get up there. I tried, but stuff like that, that's cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But
And it's like back in Vanilla WoW before they had flying, it was fun to kind of try and get to places where you shouldn't.
hmm
I remember doing that, but once flying got introduced to the game, Blizzard started making these. There's all these other cool places, but I think you can still try and get to those uh, places. Like I remember when this Night of Start area on top of the tree. I remember finding out if you fall down there and you live, there's little uh, places that go into the tree, and they're just like little land places, and there's like huts and stuff there. Like um, one of them, I think, has a dead campfire. Like it's not lit or anything, and that was cool and all, um, but that was like a thing of vanilla and stuff. Is like, but now you fly and you can see all.
now, before
Uh,
one thing I do agree with people bringing up a good point on that vanilla thing is the storyline right now when you're leveling up, especially for your new character, is so bloody confusing. You start off worrying about this Deathwing guy, then you go worry about an Elden guy, then you go worry about a Lich King guy, then you're back to worrying about Deathwing. Now you're playing with pandas and Pokemon, and then you're worrying about Archimon and Gul'dan.
yeah, it's really weird that the vanilla world talks all about Deathwing before you go into the dark portal.
hmm
It's like especially if you do the day Deathwing came quest, that whole thing where they're talking about how Deathwing came and all this, and you hearing about this dragon, you see the dragon, and then go kill Illidan
Yeah,
because you don't actually kill the dragon before you kill Illidan and Lich King and all that. So it's almost like they're minions of Deathwing
right.
that you have to get through, like mini bosses.
Yeah.
And of course, you don't actually kill the Lich King. You don't actually kill Illidan anymore until your level cap, and you can farm them
So
because no one does those raids at level.
I think one way to fix that is to not revert to Cataclysm, but go back and rework some of the quests that reference uh, Deathwing. That way, who was the big bad boss in Vanilla?
The old gods
Okay.
mostly. Uh, it
Or,
was Noxramas for a little bit, so it was Kel'Thuzad, and then the final boss was the old god Cthulhu.
all right, you work on that, and then you go to Outlands. You work on Illidan. And you go to Northern. Work on uh, Lich King. Then you come back to Azeroth and work on those zones for Deathwing. Then you go to Pandaria for uh, what was his name?
Garage.
Thank you. Work on Garage, and then you go work on Arkham slash Golden. It would flow much better, and it wouldn't feel as
Yep.
clustered as it does now.
Yep. As far as the leveling revamp, that is actually one of the biggest complaints I had about it, because I like what they did with the quests. Like the quests themselves, I like how they changed them and how some of them are actually interesting. And you have those little quests like the Plants vs Zombies thing here,
Hmm.
the riding around with Worgen chick, can't remember her name, Fiona or something like that here, and you have rolling over gnomes here. And they actually added some really cool, interesting quests. The I felt like the biggest complaint I had was that all those quests, like you said, deal with Deathwing, and I feel like if it was me doing that, like if I was going through a revamp, I would keep the main narrative and storyline from vanilla. I just would have made the quest better
Hmm.
and tell the story in a better way and all that, instead of trying to incorporate all this Deathwing stuff. But and then I feel like they could have done some sort of phasing, but I don't know if they had the technology back then uh, to the level they have now. But well, they didn't because it isn't the level they have now. But like maybe if they could have done some sort of phasing where you come out of the dark portal at level, I think it's 68 or whatever, then the whole world is scarred by Deathwing or whatever. But or when you come back from Northrend or whatever, like you pick up a quest and then it shows maybe the cinematic that Deathwing flies over and then lands in Stormwind, and then suddenly it phases the whole world to look like Deathwing's thing or whatever.
That would make more sense in all honesty.
But
Again, looking at it from a new player point of view, you don't know what the hell is going on.
yeah,
It's just a big cluster of stuff happening now.
and I could almost see them making more content in that way. Simply, like, I feel like they could do the vanilla storyline for all the first quests in the world's phase, so it looks like it used to look, and you go through the dark portal, and then you do Outlands because you begrudgingly do Outlands after doing all those amazing new quests and all that, and then you go to Outlands and you have to deal with the old shit. Then you come back, you go to the Northrend, and it'd be cool. Like it'd be really cool if before you go to Outlands, they had a small little quest where it plays the cinematic for you, like the Illidan's "You are not prepared" thing, and then you could go into the dark portal. You come back, you get a small little quest that shows you the Lich King's trailer in game, and you do all the Lich King quests and all that. You do that quest line, you get another small quest that opens up. You see Deathwing destroying the world, then it phases the world into looking like Deathwing destroyed it, and then it would be cool if they could actually. I mean, it'd be a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, but it'd be cool if once that phasing happens, all the quests in the world level up to that level, and you could actually go around the world and like the Sylvanas quest, for example, the one where she goes against the Worgen
Hmm.
in the starting zone. Currently, you go to that quest, but it's at the started cataclysm type level, and you could do that to level instead of having to go to Mount Hyjal or whatever. Like it could be a choice for people that are leveling up. Like maybe I want to try something new. I go to Sylvanas' thing. I take out the Worgen, or I go to do Fiona's thing, and that would add a lot more content probably to the game, like for people to experience that like to do ults. But obviously, that's a lot of work, and its scale is very unobtainable. But that would be cool,
That would be
I
cool.
think, if they
No,
did
I'm with
something
you.
like that. It'd just be like once you get out of Northrend, all of a sudden you'd have all these quests open up, and on your like 50th ult, you're still doing new stuff in the world because you did Sylvanas' thing, you did the day Deathwing came, you did all this at that higher level, and then after that you go to Pandaland. um, you do that, you beat Garrosh, you come back, then you go to Draenor, and then do the Legion thing. But for that little bit of time, you'd have something different to do, just freshen things up. And especially since in the vanilla world, you could do that anyway. Like, so you'd have that two times in your leveling process. You can completely change your how things are as far as alts go. It's like I'll start a night elf, so I'll start in the night elf starting zone. Then I'll the only things that are the same, obviously, are Outlands, Northrend, Pandalands, and Draenor and all that. But you have two breaks in between those, some of those where you just go off do what you want. But that's my idea.
It's a good idea. I like it.
I mean, it's one of those grand ideas that would take them too long to do and too much money, but it'd be cool if they did it.
Yeah.
It's an idea for Warcraft 2, Blizzard.
But you have anything else you want to talk about? Warcraft related? There.
Um, Nothing really more winded from saying all that stuff earlier. No,
It was all good
I don't
information.
have anything big. Yeah, I don't have anything major to talk about right now, but I'm sure later as I get into the beta, I will have plenty to talk about.
Well, if you get in the beta, I best damn get into the beta.
No, not if I get into beta. When I get into beta,
Oh, sorry.
gotta talk. Hopefully here, like when you get into the beta, you can make. We gotta do the when because it's going to happen.
Okay.
Gotta be optimistic about this. Our optimism will empower Blizzard to do the right thing.
Oh, alrighty then. On
You
that
hear that,
note,
Blizzard? You hear that, Blizzard? Save a puppy if you get us into Blizzard and get us into. Oh yeah, Blizzard. I want to work at Blizzard too. So that'd save the puppy. You would save a kitten if you let us into the beta.
you can't see my face right now, but my eyes are the size of a silver dollar right now. You're threatening harm on an animal to get into the beta.
The harm's not going to happen. The harm's not going to happen because Blizzard's going to let us into the beta. So it's a false threat. But Blizzard, if you don't, it will be a real threat.
I never gave you my address, did I?
Yeah, I have it right here. It's one two
Okay,
five
good.
six
Good, you don't have
North
it.
Witchboro Lane. I do have his address, by the way.
No, you don't. When did I give it to
I
you?
do actually.
Was I drunk?
When I think you were, yeah, we were looking for. It was during your job search, one of your job search days.
Uh,
I got on Google and I was over your house on the whole Google Maps thing, looking at your house. I'm like, he has a dead dog in his yard.
well, you want to get technical. There's about 5 dog graveyards out there, so. And they all died of natural
Wouldn't that be
causes.
weird? Wouldn't that be weird though? Someone looks up your house on Google Earth and they're like zooming in on it, and that one day that Google took that picture, it's the day that like you were sunbathing naked or something. Wouldn't that suck?
Well, I wouldn't have a problem getting a
Like,
job
oh
then
yeah,
if that was happening. Ugh.
it'd be like you're telling someone how to get to your house. You like give them the Google address, and just because they're curious, and we know everyone does this. When you get someone's address and you look them up on Google, we know everyone goes to the Earth view and just looks at the top of their house. But it'd be funny if you're telling someone directions to your house, you give them the directions, they put it in Google Earth, they zoom in, but it's just you naked in the pool.
I don't do that.
Well, I know. I'm just saying it
No,
as
no.
a
I,
example
I
of
no. I'm not saying.
something that could show.
I'm saying I don't just look at the me go to the street view to see where it's at. I just pop it into my
Oh,
phone when I get my truck and go start, and it gives me directions on how to get there.
I do that when I don't feel like bringing the GPS. I'll go to Street View and I'll just see what's around it. Because when I go somewhere, I'm more of a visual person. Like landmarks and stuff get me there more than street signs. Go west, go east. Doesn't really help me as much. So
I just listen to the voice.
sometimes, yeah,
In 300 feet, turn right.
yeah. I don't always have my GPS in my car. Is what I mean. And if I don't feel like bringing the GPS to the car, then that's when I'll use Street View and be like, okay, it's across from McDonald's. Got it. I know where that McDonald's is.
Wait, people still have separate GPS devices?
If you don't have a smartphone with a amazing data plan.
Get out of the rock you're under. There's a wonderful world out there.
When I had a dumb phone, I bought a GPS. And so damn it, I'm going to use it even though the maps are out of date on it.
Yeah, turn right. That's a building. So you go past
I will
Washington,
be
right?
honest. I will be honest. The GPS did send us down a one-way street one time. So, well, the wrong way down a one-way street.
You pulled over. What? Why are you going? Why are you going the wrong way? The GPS told me so. So, officer.
It was when I was moving to California, I believe, and the GPS says take a right on this street. Well, there were no signs up that said one way and all that like normally is. So I didn't really get that there was only a stop sign for that one direction or whatever. Plus, it's early in the morning, late at nightish, so I was tired anyway. I think we were trying to find a hotel, but so I go down the street and I started driving, and I think it was we saw headlights heading in our direction, and then someone passed us, and on the wrong side of the street. So I was like, and they flashed their lights too, I think. So I'm like, something's wrong here. are we in it's like, are we in Europe suddenly? so
Something's wrong here.
so we drove a little bit of a ways, and then we finally see the "Do Not Enter" sign at the next intersection, and I'm like, well, shit. So then we turn on the right way, but it was one of those things. It's just like, the hell? Did we cross an ocean?
I backed out of a one-way road before because I didn't want to go the whole way down the road. I was like, well, technically, I'm facing the right way.
Well, you're not facing the right way. You just headed the right way.
But on that note, you have anything else you want to say?
Not related to the podcast at hand.
Okay.
So I will have plenty to say for the Casual Friday podcast when we get to that.
Okay. All right. Look forward to that over on Mike's channel. By the way, Mike, you never added the third Casual Friday to the playlist on my channel.
Oh, completely crap. Eventually, I'll get used to doing that.
You don't have to. I'm just trying to help you out. But that's all we have for today, folks. Hopefully, this one was a little more entertaining than what we've been doing. Links in the description below for all our social media, our YouTubes, and all that fun jazz. Say goodbye, Mike.
Goodbye, Mike.
Later, everybody.